Hey there, Lux Babes, welcome back to my channel. First of all, happy 2022. We absolutely made it. Because I'm doing things a little different this year, I'm not gonna have a resolution type of video. Somewhere in the next week or two, I will upload a video about what it is that I'm doing differently, what I left in 2021, what I'm going to be taking into 2022. I'm talking habits, philosophies that I'm already practicing, not that I'm wanting to do into the new year. So I hope you guys stick around for that. It's coming, but today we're just gonna be talking about things you need to know before renting your first apartment. Now, a bunch of you know me from my main channel, and I've had a lot of you guys ask me, because you know that I used to be a flight attendant, because most of you know that I've been living alone for quite a while, I would consider myself a certified renter veteran. I am the queen of renting, and I know the ins and outs, so much so that I really felt that if I had the patience, I should be working in that industry. And I know a few of you have actually asked me to make a dedicated video to how to move out of state, tips and tricks to just like elope, for lack of a better word, as a single woman. And those videos are coming. This is kind of like a little like getting our feet wet type thing, just because I like to always start with the general picture and then kind of niche down, okay? So this video is gonna be covering the main things that you want to keep in mind, things that I wish I knew before I rented my very first apartment. Let's get into it. All right, so the first step and the most important thing I always say is neighborhood, neighborhood, neighborhood. Whether this is a city that you're familiar with, that should be easy because then you already kind of know. Every city has its, not so friendly neighborhoods and others that are a little bit more posh and, high end. Based on what you know that you're looking for, you want to start with that. You want to know the neighborhoods, whether you're going to be using a realtor or you're going to be doing it by yourself. Knowing what neighborhoods that you want to live in is a big key because it does help kind of filter things out and remove all the fluff, right? If you are new to the town, I would recommend reviews. Google is going to be your best friend, right? Start with things like safe areas to live in XYZ, and read the reviews. You can never read enough reviews when it comes to neighborhoods because I have learned that it's one of the most important factors as far as your living experience. If you live in the nicest property in a janky neighborhood, you're still gonna have a lot of issues, AKA homeless, AKA break-ins, AKA a lot of things happen, okay, when you're not in a safe neighborhood. And because of a lot of gentrification that is taking place in the United States of America, you don't want to be bamboozled into just like lipstick on a pig, okay? That's a good one. Okay, number two is your non-negotiables. You want to know the things that you are not going to compromise on, i.e., if you're someone that knows yourself, right? You hate to do dishes. You're just not about to do it and you cook a lot. You're going to want to make having a dishwasher a non-negotiable for you. I am the opposite of that. I don't cook a lot and it's always only me. I don't have kids, I don't have a significant other. And most of the times I do my dishes as I go. I don't let them pile up. So I don't really care for the dishwasher. And until very recently, I found dishwashing therapeutic. So I definitely prefer to wash it with my own hands. So those are the kind of things that you want to kind of think about. Make that list prior to going in because it's very easy to find something that you like and forget about those things that it doesn't have, and you don't want to make an impulsive decision because at the end of the day, this is somewhere you're going to be living at for a good amount of time. Speaking of a good amount of time, you may be looking for a short-term versus long-term, right? Find out if they have those options. Decide what it is that you want to do. Are you wanting something that's going to be, 14 to 18 months because you just need time to kind of get settled into the city? Maybe you just moved into the city, or maybe it's your first apartment, so you just don't want to be moving around a lot, right? Find out what those terms are that are available for you. And maybe it is your first apartment, but you know that your budget's gonna be low right now. So you're not gonna live in the best neighborhood or the best property, but within the next 6 months, you're looking to upgrade, right? So look for something that has 6 months or even 3-month leases. Just keep in mind that the shorter your lease is, the more money you end up paying. So sometimes a 3-month lease may end up being the same price as a 6-month, if that makes sense. because like if you spread the amount that you're paying monthly into that time, it kind of breaks even. So that's also something to keep in mind. Are you someone that really likes the social life, right? And if you like social life, must it be with your friends? Do you need like a clubhouse where you can entertain, a pool, you know, those kind of things where you know that your friends are gonna come over a lot. The reason why this matters is because a lot of properties lately really sell you on the amenities. And a lot of them are actually charging a fee. Where I live, I pay a monthly fee now for amenities, right? One thing I'm noticing about apartments is they're found a way to really bamboozle us into paying for everything. So we covering amenities monthly. Even when this building is paid off, they're still gonna be charging people for amenities, right? But up until, for now, we're paying that off, right? They got you with the renters now. There was a time where you didn't have to have renters insurance. I'm happy to do it because you guys already know what my story is. If you don't know the history behind, watch this video, okay? It'll give you a little bit about what's happening and how I end up in my current situation. So, but I'm just saying, make sure that you're not just being bamboozled. If you don't need those amenities, you can go to an apartment that costs you less but doesn't have all those cool things, because it's not good enough just to be like, oh, I live in a place that has like 15 elevators and a basketball court and a soccer field and all these things that you never use, just so you can say it. Like, functionality over bells and whistles when it comes to your first apartment especially. Last but not least, of an example, if you're someone that likes to work out a lot, the gym is important to you, you prefer not to go get a membership, and you have to have a gym, know that that's a negotiable for you before going in. Because guess what? That'll also help you narrow down your list. A lot of apartments and a lot of websites, one of the ones that I used in the beginning is apartmentlist.com, but you can use there's many people that you go through. You can even use a realtor. This is important to be able to tell that person so that when they're filtering their list for you, they don't even have to send you stuff that you know you're not gonna consider. If you need that gym and you absolutely have to have it, then you're just not budging, you know? Yeah. The third point is to never sign your first lease, meaning do not sign at the very first place that you see. Trust me, apartments are good at this. You know, the staff is always going to be so nice, right? Until you read the reviews. Everyone's going to treat you so sweet, with the exception of a few people that really just have attitudes regardless of when you show up, right? Everyone's going to be very nice to you. Don't be so impressed by your first visit that you're like, oh, ready to sign. They have a deal, because they'll do that too, right? They have little concessions that they offer you. You know, move-in specials, they call it, right? You don't want to move in special to a place that 2-3 weeks into it, you're just like, wow, what was I thinking? This place is just like, you know, lipstick on a pig, like I said. Roach infested, crazy neighbors, police in and out of the building because there's always something popping. You just don't want to put yourself through that. And sometimes it may not even be anything that bad, right? Maybe they're just better out there. So always make sure that you do your due diligence. For your first apartment, I mean, I think a good number to start with to narrow things down would be like 7. You know, I'm talking about as far as the ones that you actually want to go look and see. 7's a good number. I like 7. But then on that same note, number 3 is to know when to stop, right? So you've narrowed it down. Maybe you didn't get to 7, but you found top 3, right? You want to make your top 3 that you're just like, has everything I want, need, and then some, right? Make your top 3 that makes the most sense for you, and then stop. The reason I'm saying that is because every time you turn around, a new building is popping up, right? And like I said, they have so many things to entice you, you're gonna end up with analysis paralysis. You don't wanna do that, because this is when you start making bad decisions, right? You can end up picking a place based on a reason that doesn't even matter to you, right? So just know when to stop after you have done your due diligence. All right, last but not least, read the fine print. I know it's boring, but when I tell you I read all my leases, I read every single section. You're not just gonna get me to initial anywhere, no. Because you'd be surprised the things that they try to hide in there. Like I said, like, oh, we can raise the rent 2 times the amount. Landlords can raise the rent anyway. But if you were paying $600 when you first moved for your first year, and now they want to bump to $1,200, that's a hell of an inflation, okay? That's not normal. Those aren't normal thing. And yes, you have the option to move out, but I'm just saying that, like, if that's something that you would have fought before, you can't fight it because it's in there, right? It's in your clause. Like, know things about subletting, right? Maybe you are wanting to start an Airbnb business, or you just travel a bit, right? And you may be looking to like let someone stay when you're gone. Or you want that flexibility of, if you don't like the place, just being able to sublet it and going to get something else. Make sure that it's something that they're okay with. Find out their guest policy, right? So some places will tell you you can only have 2 guests and you have to accompany them. So say that you have your boyfriend, your mom and dad staying over, right? They really want to go check out your really cool gym at your apartment, but then your property requires you to be with all your guests, whether it's at the pool or wherever else. Find out things like that, because some of them are more lax than others, right? And then also length of stay. Some apartments allow like 7 days max. Some will say a month. It just depends. So find that out, because all those things may really be important to you. So all that stuff is really usually written in the fine print. If it's not written in the fine print, it's not anything they can bind you. Even if they come up with the policy, fine. But you can always stick up for yourself and say, I didn't sign that and it's not in my lease. Does that make sense? So that's important. Also, authorized entry. So as many of you that do know my story of what happened during COVID, you know that I authorized my neighbor to go inside of my apartment on my behalf when I was stuck abroad to help me pack and move. If everything went well, that is a perfect example of why you want authorized entries, right? Heaven forbid it's not one of your like family members or someone that has an extra key. You should always have someone that you trust that has an extra key to your apartment. I personally like that, but you may be very private. But even if you do, authorized entrance just means they won't give that person a key, but they'll give them you're giving them the permission to enter your apartment to do what they need to do and then get out. You just never know. Emergencies can happen, and if you cannot physically be there, it's always nice to have that option to get authorized entries. Most properties will ask you to send like a written something because they kind of want something legal, to kind of cover their own butts. But yeah, again, if you are like a traveler, or you do something that doesn't allow you to always be home, but then you just never know. Sometimes someone may need to be let into your apartment very quickly to grab something for you. Find out if your apartment does do authorized entries. Read the fine print, babe. Like at the end of the day, it could be a lot of things, right? You could think you're signing for 6 months, and then when you read the fine print, it's like, they could tell you verbally like, oh yeah, if you want to break your lease, it's fine. Just let us know. Give us a month notice and we're fine. But then you read your lease and it says, if you have to break your lease, give us a month notice and 2 months worth of rent. That's a big difference, right? So just read, do your due diligence. I know you may not be the favorite thing to do, but just do it, because it'll save you a lot of time, money, energy, and stress. Okay? Yeah, so that's all I have today. I really hope this video helped you. Most of the content that I create is to help educate you in some way, to help relax you in some way. Adding value is very important to me. And so I really appreciate you spending your evening with me watching this video. If there are any other topics that you want me to cover this year, drop them in the comments. I'm looking forward to that. But that is absolutely what Married Deluxe is about. It's about having the luxury to choose the life that you want to live. That's on every level: mental, emotionally, financially, physically, spiritually, right? So we're gonna get into all the nitty gritty this year, but just thought I'd pop in on the first day and let you guys know what it is. As I said earlier, thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.